Good morning, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon. This is Win TV News Blog. We are here to talk about the interview that they interviewed Aisha Yusuf. Just want to deliberate about it concerning how our politicians are separating Nigeria. When they want to steal our money, there is no, when you vote for Peter Obi, you vote for Biafra. No. When they want to steal our money, there is no Igbo, there is no Yoruba, there is no Hausa. But when it is time of election time, there will be segregation. Nigeria youth, use your head. This is for your generation coming. Don't allow tribal to make you not to choose the right person. Don't allow tribe to make you not to choose the right person. Wake up for your slumber. The people that are still supporting those old men, they are still in the dark. Be the light that will move them away from that dark. That word that said that if you vote for Peter Obi, you vote for IPOB. It's a word of divination. But if you vote for Atiku, you did not vote for Arewa. If you vote for Tinubu, you did not vote for Oduduwa. But it's only when you vote for Peter Obi, is then you vote for IPOB. Do you see how envy they are? This will make the youth to make sure that they vote for Peter Obi. Because Peter Obi has what it takes to move Nigeria forward. Atiku and Tinubu that came for this presidential stuff, they have been asked, if you become the president of Nigeria, what are you going to do for this mess that Nigeria is to be cleaned? None of them fit talk what they won't do. They not fit talk anything. Waiting the other one they talk. Now how in go to say na in consign Emilio come. The other one said, if you put me in president or to rule this country, Nigeria, that is going to make the country, the economies of the country to be economies of friends and well-wishers. We don't need such government. Meaning it's not going to enrich the youth. A man that they threatened that man when they killed that girl in the north, and he deleted the tweet. Is that a man? That means he's so zealous to be a president, but he's not after how to save the soul of Nigeria. Since Peter Obi is talking about the ship that coming to the south to offload oil to other countries, crude oil, but yet he said, now people in the government, now then they collect this oil and known by the security agency, because no ship go past without the security agency not know about them. So do you see the difference between Peter Obi and them? Peter Obi want the betterness of Nigeria, but the blood-sucking politicians will not accept that. Youth, arise. I am calling to you. Arise and make sure that this 2023, you vote the right person. 2023, there's going to be a change, because if you miss this one, if you miss this change that we are aiming from, if you miss this good change that God want to bless Nigeria, now, in the next 20 years, I pray that Nigeria will not suffer more than as they are now. Buhari will be a saint. So please, my people, make sure that you vote the right candidate. And who is that right candidate? LP. We are not here to vote as a party. We are here to vote the right person, which is Peter Obi, Gregory, and Dati. And this is where we are going. This is the right ship, the right jet that will jet us into the right place of developed country, not developing country. Bless you as you listen. Thank you. Have a nice day. Peace out.
The power to stand up and demand change. And one of the most important voices in that support for change would have to be the activist and campaigner Aisha Yesufu. Her work shines through for all to see, whether through protests, social activism, or online campaigns. She's been at the forefront of trying to make real change happen, and in her own unique way, ensuring that she leaves Nigeria a better, more equitable place than she found it. And now, using social media and public appearances to convey her determined message, she's battling to generate the kind of social and political change that will influence the 2023 presidential elections, specifically in favor of her chosen candidate, Peter Obi of the Labour Party. But can Mr. Obi gather all the momentum generated by the likes of Aisha Yesufu, take Nigeria by storm in 2023, win the presidential election, and ride into Aso Rock on a white horse? Or is that a fairy tale and the most he can hope for in the face of the combined crush of the APC's Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the PDP's Atiku Abubakar, and the NNPP's Rabiu Kwankwaso, is to become the political conscience of Nigeria rather than its political leader? Well, for more on this, I'm delighted to say that the activist, campaigner, and founder of Citizens Hub, Aisha Yesufu, joins me now in the studio. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me, Charles.
So Peter Obi, clearly a force to reckon with in Nigerian politics today, and he has people like you to thank for that. But do you see that as being largely within the young demographic, or has it gone beyond that group?
Oh, it has gone beyond that. And I think I remember the last time I was here, I did say to you that Nigerians haven't seen anything yet. And I think from that time till now, indeed, Nigerians are beginning to see the momentum that is being gathered. It's not just about young people. It's Nigerians that are tired of bad governance. It's Nigerians that are tired of the fact that we have a nation that is supposed to be amongst the top nations of the world. But here it is still lagging behind over 60 years after independence. So beyond just young people, we have just Nigerians who are tired, Nigerians who are saying enough is enough, and Nigerians who are coming out now to actually make a difference, to be the ones to be the determinants of who are those who get into political offices.
And this is, of course, a group that doesn't have a history of voting in Nigerian elections. Professor Jibrin Ibrahim was here the other day pointing that out. There are more people who make their points on social media. But, of course, it is people like you in civil society who've been engaging them and trying to convince them that Facebook or Twitter or Instagram isn't going to deliver votes to any candidate. And that, I mean, for them to influence politics, they have to take their points from social media to the ballot box. Do you think that now they've finally realized it, and we're seeing that in the rise of voter registration and all the rest of it?
Absolutely. They have realized it. Not only have they realized it, they actually put in the work. And that's exactly what we are seeing now, the momentum that we are seeing all over the place. When the registration started, and then when this whole momentum started, there were a lot of people who mocked the young people and said to them that they will soon move away. They will soon focus on other things. Different shows are going to start, and then their attention will be away from the politics. I mean, football also will take their attention away. But surprisingly, they've been very focused. And one of the things that a lot of people do not realize is that during the EndSARS protest, I mean, there was an awakening. The massacre that happened on the 20th of October 2020, you know, it was an emancipation. So the minds of the citizens, especially the young Nigerians that had been oppressed, where they didn't bother about what was going on, they became more focused on politics. And one thing about the Nigerian youth, give it to them, they're intelligent, they have creativity, they have social media, they have technology, and they have a way of organizing, and they're doing that as we can see currently.
But I mean, the big question, of course, course, which has also been raised on this program, is that whether they'll be able to stay the course and maintain the enthusiasm to the bitter end and go out and vote after all the different conditions that a very long campaign period has created.
I mean, nobody expected that they will stay focused at this time. And that's the reason why I said for a lot of people that said by the time the football seasons are here, they'll be carried away by this. And there's a particular show that just rounded up. Normally, you find that young people are so invested in that show, but this time the case wasn't the same. It's more about politics. And so they have remained focused, and they're going to remain focused. And one of the things also, it's not just young people that are tired. Remember what I said, Nigerians that are tired of bad governance are out there rooting for a change. I mean, go everywhere, on the streets, on social media. I mean, initially they said 4 people are tweeting, and I mean, look at what amazing the exponential growth that 4 people has all over the country. Now we have people who are coming out and saying that they matter. And you know, one of the things that we all have to understand is the fact that initially they used to say that votes don't count. That was a big lie that was sold to Nigerians, and it took years of trying to tell people indeed our votes count. But that's no longer the case now. Citizens know that indeed their votes count and that they can make a difference. And for the first time in a long time, if not forever in Nigeria, citizens are determined to be the ones who decide who gets into Asu Villa, who decide who gets into all the other political offices, and that's quite amazing.
But do you agree with those who say that rise in young voter registration, which is what is giving a lot of optimism and hope and so on, happened late and was cut off before many of them were able to actually complete their registration process? And in that regard, there is considerable uncertainty in knowing how many of them actually registered and will be able to vote, because INEC has not released the final number, has it?
They haven't released the final numbers. Of course, there are some numbers where they say some didn't complete their registration and then some didn't go there physically. And so but one of the things that we all keep forgetting is that there are a lot of people who have stayed away from the politics, from the political process of Nigeria, because they didn't believe in the political process and the kind of candidates that have always been thrown up. And so with Peter Obi coming into the presidency, being in the race, it's a game changer. And so for a lot of people, for them, they now see a reason why they should use their PVCs. All this why there never was a reason.
So they had PVCs, but
there are a lot that have. That's why we always have less than 50% that actually come out to vote, because what we've always had are people who don't even bother to come out to vote. For right now, and what we're expecting is that a lot of people who have had their PVCs, who have never used those PVCs, are saying they are going to use it this time. So let's not discount that particular huge number that we have, beyond also the young people who, because of the candidates that they have seen, because most of them say Peter will be going to be in the ballot paper, have come out to actually register themselves also.
Well, let's talk about the other issue that's been raised about the followers of Peter Obi and the fact that they often come across as very dedicated, but also at times very scary. I'm sure you've heard that. I mean, with some of them sounding like inquisitional judges, I mean, in the face of disagreements of any kind. Do you agree that some of them are getting to be quite extreme? You
know, the problem with Nigeria is that we tend to blame the victim rather than the perpetrators. Peter Obi supporters have been attacked physically. They have been attacked verbally. We even had on Arise TV the other day an APC women leader, Lagos APC women leader, calling them disobedient, profiling them, saying that, oh, she didn't bring out a march, she didn't make it known because they are going to be attacked. That's profiling. That's already verbal violence against them.
Yeah, but you have to admit.
Hold on.
Yeah.
There's no admittance here, because there is nowhere where any Peter Obi supporters have attacked anyone. They are the ones who are being attacked right now, and Nigerians are looking the other way instead of them to call out the perpetrators. You know, the thing with us as a nation is that we've been so browbeaten that we are always quick to attack the victims rather than calling out the perpetrators who are right now coming up. Yes, they are passionate. Of course, they have to be passionate. They've seen what it is, their lives meaning nothing to a government, and they want their lives to matter. So they bring in that passion. Are they aggressive? Absolutely not. Aggression is being meted out on them, and then yet nobody is acknowledging that. The state isn't acknowledging that.
I don't think anyone is disputing the fact that politicians have used their power and abused it in this country. I mean, that's why everybody's hoping for change. But you have to admit that irrespective of what the politicians have done, which everybody is in agreement, they've messed up quite a bit. I mean, we're talking about specifically people, and a lot of them on social media. You can see it. It's not hidden. I mean, if you look at the likes of Femi Kuti when he came out and the sort of attack he went through. You look at people like Joke Silva, who just came out the other day, and the sort of attacks that they went through. So it's not a hidden thing. I mean, it's you may well say that in the passion of politics, things will happen, but it's difficult to justify those things, isn't it?
No, there's no justifying any attack on anyone. People have a right to their choices. Absolutely, you have a right to your choice, whatever you want to say. But the thing is that when we are talking about these attacks, what are the attacks we are talking about? I'm telling you that people have been physically attacked. Flag boy, there's a boy who carries flag for Peter Obi. He was attacked a few days ago in Oshodi. He was lynched. They almost wanted to burn. If not for the intervention of soldiers that came on, it would have been a tragic case. Why are we not talking about that? That is something that people seem not to want to talk about. If you're telling me about social media violence, I will tell you I've been one that have been trolled for the last 7 years. I've been at the mercy of supporters of PDP, at the mercy of supporters of APC. It's just that I'm one who is unbreakable. No matter what you say to me, you're just saying it. Yeah, there are people who come out. I mean, you can't classify them as like, oh, these are Peter Obi supporters. But there are people who come out and do their and somehow they get overboard. They are angry at certain people that they've looked upon as what do you call it now, as role models. And then when these people sort of like where they've always thought that where the politicians have always come against them, that these people have been with them, and then all of a sudden these people make certain choices, they don't feel happy about it. But one of the things that they have to realize, of course, is that everyone has a choice and have a right to those choices. Whoever they want to vote for, that's the way it goes.
And are you also finding that there is the almost dangerous pursuit of a political savior in this country, and we appear to be seeing a cult of personality developing around certain politicians? I mean, we saw that with President Buhari, and now we appear to be seeing it with Peter Obi this time.
Well, there are a few people who believe that there must be sort of like cult-like worshipping, and that will come from our upbringing. Most of us as Nigerians were brought up with the first set of dictators we had were actually parents. So we always brought up, follow this person, the person has a finance, say don't question them. So it's going to take years and years of education for people to actually understand that those who get into public offices, they are your servants, they are not your lords and savior, that you cannot talk to them. So there are a few of that, but then a good majority are also ready to hold Peter Obi accountable. And I'll use Peter Obi for you. There are certain times he has done certain things that people didn't feel happy about, and they came out and they told him right off. So in as much as you agree with you, there are certain percentage of people who feel that they have to worship the candidate or the candidates, but there are quite a number of young people who are also very who have an understanding of the fact that the office of the citizen is the highest office of the land, and they're ready to hold whoever it is accountable. Every presidential candidate, everybody running for office, they're looking for a job, and we the Nigerians, we are their employers, and so right now they're coming for interviews. Absolutely. And nobody is above us holding them accountable. We'll hold them accountable before they get into office. We'll hold them accountable after they get into office, and if they do well, fine and good. If we feel like it, we'll praise them. If they don't do well, we'll always come after them. We give them the job, we are paying them, and they have to do what they need to do.
Absolutely. But is there a sense, though, that given all the things that people have suffered in this country, which is most unfortunate, that Nigerians are continuously obsessed with chasing the perfect person who is going to run this country perfectly? But we all know that that is a phantom, isn't it?
So it's a combination of a lot of things. So first of all, the upbringing, and that's why I said to you, the fact that the way we were brought up, that you don't speak, just listen to your parents, listen to your teachers, listen. You can't even question them. The moment you question them, you're called a stubborn child. And so when people go into adulthood, they simply replace their parents, teachers, and all of that with anybody in authority. And so they don't also say anything. Then we also have the religious angle, where you're being told that you should not talk to leaders, you should not do this, just accept whatever it is that is being given to you. So all of this conditioning is going to take such a long time for Nigerians to fully be able to take themselves out of it. But there are quite a number of young people and also other citizens who are having an understanding of the awareness that indeed anybody getting there is not like a savior. There's no divine touch on any leader. This is just someone who is doing a job, and where they fail, we need to call them out. So it's a process that it's going to take a long time. But right now there is so much that has been done in case of people occupying that office of the cities. And I'm quite happy with the young people that I see right now, the way they are also ready to hold those they are campaigning for accountable, even though there are still some that is still work in progress, because they just seem to say, oh, when this person gets in, it's going to be hurry. No, it's not going to be. It's going to be hard work for every one of us. It's going to be all of us, both the citizens, like Dr. Obedatt would always say, there's a demand side of governance and also supply side of governance. The people who vote them in, they must occupy the office of the citizen and make demands. Then the people who are voted into office, they supply. If you do not, Nigerians, in fairness, both of us haven't really done our bit, both the people supplying and the people demanding. If you do not make demands, those who are supposed to supply, they will supply what comes easy for them, and it's easier to supply bad governance than it is to supply good governance. So every one of us, we must understand that it's not just to vote and go and sleep, because that's what we normally do. That's what we've done before. We must vote and give them close marking. We scrutinize them and ensure that they are on the right path and working towards giving us good governance, accountability, and transparency.
And in the process of doing that, I'm wondering whether someone like yourself is directly linked as a member to any political party, or whether you remain independent, because obviously you'd be very vocal in your support for Peter Obi. Has that meant that you are now a member of the Labour Party?
No, absolutely not. I'm not a member of any political party. I have never been a member of any political party. So I bet Peter Obi is my candidate. Just like in 2019, Dr. Obedatt was also my candidate, and I was in her campaign team, but I wasn't a member of party. For me, it's a good thing to be. It's not as if it's not a good thing for people to be, but I don't want that restriction. I don't want to be sort of like partisan attached to a particular party. All I'm interested in is good governance, accountability, and transparency. And for me, it's vote candidates, not parties. And wherever a candidate comes from in all of the position, I'm going to look at who is the best for that position, irrespective of whatever party they come from. I'm not loyal to any party or anybody. I'm loyal to Nigeria. For me, that's it. And if Peter will be getting into office and he does anyhow, he will see anyhow. We no send.
Yeah, I bet he would.
He will see anyhow.
But there are, of course, 17 other presidential candidates. You don't see any of them as potentially doing a good job?
No. So before it was Peter, I took my time and I waited until all the primaries had been done of all the political parties, and I sat down and I weighed by all the candidates, and he was one that came tops for me for this election.
And what is it about him that comes tops for you?
So the thing about him, number one, is the empathy. Yeah, so for me, after the last 8 years, I'm very particular about empathy in terms of looking at who is it that is going to be a leader in a position, because empathy will make you want to take the people to the position that you are in, and it will make you do everything to ensure that you carry them along. So that for me, it's really something serious. And then on the issue of competence also, he's one who is down to earth, he's one who listens, and then he's one who has shown that he can face the, do I say the demon that is the Nigerian political system, look them in the eye and be able to do the things that he wants to do without fear or favor. And so that's very important. And also on the issue of cost of governance. I mean, in Nigeria today, if we really sit down and begin to cut the cost of governance, we know that a lot of the problems that we think we have, or the monies we don't have, we will be able to get that. And I want somebody who is prudent. I want somebody who is going to come in and not just be thinking about what are they going to take off for their own, to keep for their children or their descendants that are not yet born. And there are other qualities as well that for me I've seen, and I'm like, yes, this is the candidate for me. And I'm that kind of a person that even if I'm the only one, I'll be there. If I believe in something, I go all out. So I'm a passionate person. And some people think that it's something negative. For me, it isn't. If I believe in something, I'm ready to put everything, even my life, on the line for that particular thing. And if I don't believe in something, even if everybody is there, I'm not going to be there. And so that's why I'm able to respect other people who don't want to do maybe certain things that I'm doing or supporting my own candidate. They have a right the same way I have my own rights. But as it is right now, with the people that we have, it's Obi.
Yeah, but that level of passion, which is very impressive and very sort of gives you a very commanding presence. I mean, that passion, that level of passion that you bring to a particular situation and to your support of a particular individual, I mean, that same passion must be crushingly defeating if that person fails you.
No, absolutely not. Because the thing is that, and for me, and this is to every young person out there, the result is not in our control. What is in our control is our effort. And that's the reason why every day we must wake up in the morning and say, we have not done enough. Because we must not look at what has been done yesterday. Yesterday, remember, died last night. And Jim Rohn said something, that if you want to set a goal, set a big enough goal, so that in the process of achieving that goal, you become somebody worth becoming. He also said something, that if what you did yesterday is looking big to you today, that means you're not doing enough. So for me, it's all about what effort. The only way I'll be crushed is when I know that there was something I was supposed to do that I didn't do, and I didn't put in my 100%. Then I will know that I failed. But the moment I do all the things that I'm supposed to do, put in my 100%, the result, I'm not focusing on the result right now. What I'm focusing on is the effort, and I call on every Nigerian out there to just focus on the effort every day. Stand up and say, what are the things that you can do them more, and wake up and say, you've not done enough, and you keep going. So for me, at the end of the day, that's it. And so what is it that I'm doing? What is it that I can do? What is it that it's in my control? That is more important than what the result is. That's how I've lived my life, even in my own personal life. Because even when I get to something where a lot of people are crushed by the results, I always look at it, and maybe now it sounds a bit arrogant. If I don't get it, I always say that, well, it wasn't good enough for me, that's why I didn't get it. That's in my own personal life, and I move on to the next thing. So I'm not beaten down because I didn't achieve certain thing, because the only thing I focus on, like I said, is that effort. That's the one we have control over. What happens on the 26th of February 2023? That's not in our control. But from now till 25th of February 2023, what happens? It's in our control, and we can put in that effort to ensure that we get the desired result that we are